Hello, fellow developers. Today I'm going to go over the Command SDK. This will allow us to call our Command API backend and do AI agent orchestration. What you'll usually be in is the app, and that's where you're going to add most of all your code, and that's where you will add your handlers or your schedulers or controllers, whatever you need to do in your own coding. And I've done a basic example that we'll go through with two agents being called. The internal core you can actually work on and help us if you find bugs or communications, or you just want to make it a little bit better. We do accept contributions, so you can go ahead and read more about that here in our README. I'm going to go over the flow really quickly. So we have a Jira webhook. From this webhook, we're just going to do some validation. We're also going to make sure that it isn't the actual agent that's calling itself. From there, and you can say that Jira, you can actually put a lot of these different filters in Jira. But what we've decided is, instead of having all that management and keeping with that in Jira, we're going to do it in our code here. So we're going to go ahead and extract the issue key from Jira. That's what's going to be what we're going to look it up and use that to manage our flow. And then from there, we're going to put it onto a queue. So we're using ActiveMQ. So both, you'll have an ActiveMQ and this microservice, and that allows for guaranteed delivery. So if something happens after our 3 tries to our WebSocket, and we have a failure, or say that one of the LLMs that you are using in an agent decides not to start answering us, then you can have this come back and retry later on, if you so choose. It's up to your settings and what you want to do in your ActiveMQ. Now, from there, we're going to go ahead and just parse this agent file. From there, that allows us to do all the command and control and send that information up to the Command API. And then from there, the Command API is going to either be successful in doing its work and return back to the coding agent, and that's going to be our chaining, and it's going to go to the coding agent. And most of the chaining, some of it is data coming back from that agent, but then some of it is that we're going to actually put it on the message queue, and it'll be able to then go into Jira and get more of that information. But still, again, if there's a failure at any point there with the communication, which this doesn't happen, but usually, as you guys probably know, LLMs, they're not always reliable, and OpenAI or Claude, they can be down. So this will allow you to keep that going. So then from there, we're going to go ahead and go through all of that. And then we eventually come through and have a cleanup service if you need to clean up everything. But that's pretty much the end flow. We do have the ability where AI is sometimes inconsistent or does not give back an answer that we were expecting in our flow. And for that case, you actually have this incomplete agent response handler. And this actually allows you to actually call another agent that can handle the parsing out of whatever kind of information can happen. So if we come here to our agent files, you can see here's the first agent, which is this incomplete agent. And you can see here, I'm simply going to say, look, take anything you have from the conversation you did have, the LLM conversation, and just go ahead and try to send it up and put it onto Jira. And then also you can put it to the output schema. Now, and what your reasoning was. So we're asking the actual model to kind of look at that and reason why it couldn't create a good response back for the output schema. And we give it all of its tools that it can use that it so chooses. You'll see here that I'm actually calling out to different tools, and these keys and this information here is deterministic. So this is coming in from the webhook. So this is very critical that when you can be deterministic, you should be deterministic. Don't let the AI try to fill in the blanks. It will love to do that, but you're going to want to be as deterministic as you can. I'm also being very straightforward and really strict on the tools that I'm giving it access to. So there's a lot more of these tools than what I've given it, but I'm giving it that because that's what I'm saying it can use to do its job, and then its output schema, and then our exit expression. Then there we have that Jira agent. So this is the first Jira agent that's going to take place, and you'll see that I'm calling different tools and different deterministic information, but I'm also giving it some to go through this. And then what to use is the Claude Opus. Then from there, here's all the different tools that we can use and the output. You'll see this is a lot larger output schema. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and going to the coding agent. And in the coding agent, I'm actually having it, get to get repo and those deterministic fields that it's gotten from the agent. And you'll see that it'll actually ask for that information. And down here at the end, we're going to actually have it open up a pull request at the end. And what that's going to do is trigger our last agent that sits in our good one, our Kodo merge agent that is actually going to go ahead and review all the code that we've submitted to it. So here's all the tools, and we're going to use Claude Sonnet model to actually do this work. And then here's all the different tools. And the output schema for this, you'll see the PR URL, and we're asking for some things like story points and estimating of hours and the actual agent time in minutes that it actually is going to take it. Just to do some more that you would ask a fellow developer to do, but you're not always going to be able to have them do that. So, or they're not going to get you the right answers or some estimation. So we're going to have our mid-level developer to do that for us. Here's our controller. Our controller is just receiving that webhook, as I was telling you, and it's going to come in here and grab the information and do the, see if it's the trigger agent and go through all the coding here, and then return back and put this onto the queue, or return it back if there's an error or any problems doing that back to Jira. Now from there we have the handler. Most of the time, and so this is something I wrote. This is you as a developer for this API. This is something you would write. You would write your Jira webhook, or whatever other ones. The code is at your fingertips, so you can do a task that's going to run every couple minutes and look for information and data. You can connect to logging, any custom systems that you have. You're at the control here. That's why we've written this, and you guys can go ahead and do that. Afterwards, once the AI and the LLM, the back end, is done and gives us the information, we've decided that, hey, this Jira agent, this is the handler for it, and we want it to actually go to the coding agent if it's true. So here's the type that we want it to go to, and then from there, it will handle it. Now, this is a base class, so you don't have to, we've implemented this for you. You don't have to go to this base class. This is all you have to do is return the type, and we're going to call the handle. And we add all the information in that we're expecting from the command session, and all these different pieces of information that you don't actually need to understand or know, but eventually it's good to know down the road. So this is the type output structure and doing that. Now, usually you see, I'm just debugging to see this, but if you needed to put something else into this map that you wanted to give to this coding agent, then by all means you can do that. This is your code now. You're in the app, so you have full control over it, and you can do that. All you have to do is make sure this maps to your agent file here, and the one agent you're going to call. So there's the instructions, and this is your coding agent. So you can see I'm at the coding agent, and that's where that's going to go. So from there, the coding agent's just going to put it on, and it's going to get picked up and fill in all the blanks for that coding agent and all the pieces of data in there. And if you needed to go make another call here, this is where you would do that. You would go call off and get some piece of metadata if you needed it, and add it and enhance this. And then from there, the coding agent is going to go ahead and get called. And when it's done, it's just going to say, here's my end flow and complete. The time that when you have the incomplete gets called is only when the base handler can't find the structured output. And that structured output is that definition here in your agent file where you're asking for this specific structured output. So this is it. So if it cannot parse this from the LLM, which sometimes this can happen, then that's what you would do. So let's go ahead now and run this. The first thing you're going to see too, what comes out of the box that we've built for you is the Prometheus and the Grafana. So this is Grafana reading Prometheus, and we're using Spring Boot's information. You can see I've already run this once and gotten some information already, and here's your Jira MCP tool getting called. Right now we don't have any active threads calling, so we don't have any communication going on yet because we haven't run it. And here's our active servers. So that means active servers or the agents, these different servers running and connecting to the agents. And this will get you different kind of metrics. So this is something you can put different health checks in your enterprise, and you can feel comfortable in understanding that you can leave these autonomous agents running, but you can monitor them and actually know that they're working and still taking and doing what they're supposed to do. So from here, I'm going to go ahead now and run this. And before I run this, I'm going to show you that this is going to go to this application, this demo Spring Pet Clinic GraphQL. And in here, it's going to go ahead and make a branch like we were showing. And it's going to read from this story that we want to do. So this is all the requirement that I'm giving it. So I'm going to go ahead and create this. And now I'm going to speed up a little bit. We're going to open this story up, and I'm going to speed up a little bit because this is going to take a little bit, and then it's going to come back and ask me for the repository because I didn't give it. So it's going to say, hey, I don't know what repository you want. And that's in my agent file and configuration. So now we can see that the agent has come back and has communicated with us. If it needed more information too, it would ask for that. But I did this for the sake of time here. And all we're going to do is give it the actual GitHub URL that it needs. So I'm not going to do anything more. It asks me for this. And you'll see that the agent didn't come back because it saw that this is its own comment and it just dropped that on the ground. And now, though, it's going to now get this one and go off and check it and see if it needs to ask me any more questions. So I'm going to go ahead and be quiet now, and we're going to speed this up until it comes back. So now what we can see is that the agent acknowledged the get URI and it analyzed the existing code base, and it's going to proceed with its design now. And another note is that you can see that this is going to be done with the design. So now it's going to go to the next agent that's actually going to implement it, which will create the branch. Now we can see that it created a branch, and in this branch, if you wanted to check up on it as it's working, you can actually see that it started its implementation. This also works if some case that it only got halfway done and you wanted to see where it was. It's actually keeping track of where it's at and what it's doing. So now we have, if we refresh this, we have 3 commits ahead and a pull request. So I'm going to look at my pull request and see that the user agent, or our agent, our autonomous agent, should I say, has created this and attached the actual link to the Jira ticket and has gone all the way down, and now we have our Kodo merge. So here's where the PR has been created by our autonomous agent, who hands it off to our other autonomous agent, which is Kodo merge, who explains a little bit more about it and then actually does some compliance guide checking and some code suggestions. So what's neat about this and what you guys see is you're still in the driver's seat as a developer. You're going to want to come in and see on the red side. So the blue-red, we're now doing the blue and the red team. And the red team now, which is Codo Merge, is actually found some information or some stuff that you think that you might want to do better in the GraphQL. So it all depends, and you can. What's neat about this is it's non-deterministic. So even though I've written in the actual agent file and in instructions to follow different standards and everything, there is sometimes that you could even be better in the GraphQL because I told it to use this open sources projects standards. So, we've probably found some problems with their standards, and you can actually do a little bit better on that. So, like here, it's suggesting for pre-authorized roles, has this role, user or manager. So, that is it. Happy coding with Codo.